Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today we have got another Naruto character review, and today's character is going to be Karui, one of the Cloud Ninja. So, as always, spoilers, so if you're not caught up with Naruto Shippuden, you may want to, catch up with that. Probably fairly light spoilers for this one. Karui is a character that doesn't get a whole lot of attention in the show, unfortunately. So yeah, let's get into it. So Karui, she is she's one of the Cloud Ninjas. She is one of the students of Killer Bee, the eight-tailed Jinchuriki from the Hidden Cloud, and the younger brother of the Raikage. That's Killer Bee, and like she's his student. So Karui's an interesting one. She's a little bit of a hothead. She's got quite the temper. Um, yeah. When you first see her, she's talking with Omoi, and the two are kind of bickering. They tend to do that a lot because he very much overthinks everything, and it kind of annoys her. So that kind of leads to some interesting situations. When you first see her, she like throws a rock at Omoi like really hard, and he's like, "What if that causes some chain reaction that ends up destroying the Leaf Village," which is where they were heading. And they get there, and like the Leaf Village is destroyed, and she's like, "Oh, I screwed up," which of course, like, no, that's not. It wasn't because of her. It was because of Pain, obviously. But that was just a funny little joke that they had, like when you first see her. Um, but then shortly after that, they run into Naruto and Sasuke. Sorry, not Sasuke, Sakura, who are talking about Sasuke. And the whole reason why Karui's there in the first place is to get permission from the Hokage to go after and kill Sasuke because of what Sasuke did to Bee, her teacher. And Naruto and Sakura are not too happy to hear this. First off, they're like, "Sasuke, what have you done?" And then, of course, there's the whole, "We can't let them actually kill Sasuke." No, like, no. That undermines everything we've been working towards. So there's that. Karui's very, very insistent. Amoi's quite insistent as well, but he's willing to listen. Unlike Karui, who she just wants her revenge. So Naruto is able to talk with her, able to say, "Hey, I can help you guys get, find your master. He's probably still alive. I can give you some intel on the Akatsuki and all that." But she wants him to give info on Sasuke, and he refuses to sell out his comrade. And he mentions, "Hey, you can't let this cycle of hate continue. If you kill Sasuke, then my comrades are going to try and kill you, and there's going to be war, and we can't have that." So basically his suggestion is, "Why don't you just beat me up?" And so she does. She kicks the crap out of him until she is exhausted. He's pretty beaten up. His face is swollen, pretty nasty. She's exhausted. Almost just watching the whole time, deep in thought, realizing the implications of what's happening. And they don't. She doesn't even realize who Naruto is at this point. Like, he's just some guy who happens to know Sasuke. The guy who killed her master. Like, that's all she knows, is he's an acquaintance of Sasuke's. One that seems to care about Sasuke quite a bit. But anyways, she eventually learns later that he's the hero who saved the village just recently, and yet he just let her pummel him. Yeah, and I mention this scene a lot because really, it's kind of the most we ever see of her. She shows up in the war, but like, not really. You see her interact with B a few times. Her personality changes quite a bit because, he's her master, so she listens to whatever he says. She gets annoyed, but she just sort of begrudgingly follows along. Um, you get to see a different, softer side of her there. You see a little of her in the war. You don't really get to see her techniques much. I think you see them a little, but honestly, I kind of forgot what they are because you just see so little of her. Despite the fact that she's a really interesting character. Um, one, she's a side character, so okay, that's part of it. But part of it is the author really doesn't like females for some reason. They get so much less screen time than their male counterparts, and there's a lot less of them too. Um, you do see her show up a little in Boruto, though. I mean, she does apparently end up marrying Choji and having a daughter with him. Um, so that's a thing. I don't want to get too much into Boruto because it's not the greatest show out there, in my opinion. Some people like it, but and I've watched a bit. Like I've watched the first couple dozen episodes or so. I'm not even sure how many, but yeah. I didn't even realize who Chocho's mother was. I assumed it must have been a cloud ninja, but it took me a long time to realize that it was Karui, because you just see so little of her. But yeah, you can see a little of her personality in Chocho as well. But anyways, getting a little too into that one. Uh, generally don't want to. I generally try and avoid talking too much about Boruto. Although with Karui, you kind of have to because there's just not much else to say. But anyways, that's really all I have to say about Karui, unfortunately, because there's just so little to say about her. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. Subscribe to the channel for more videos. I do Naruto character reviews on pretty much every character in the show. I mostly do Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 videos, though. Yeah, ring that notification bell for notifications. But anyways, as always, I'm Mitch. I'll be seeing you